Well, welcome everybody, I'm Absurdum, and we're going to talk about Stoneshard. A new dev update just came out for the caves for the upcoming update, and I'm so excited because I actually read through this a little bit already, and it's got some really cool stuff in it. So, looks like first and foremost, they've announced when the update is going to be released, which is awesome, August 15th, which I think will line up pretty well for the end of our current series, so I'm pretty excited for that. But it talks about caves. Caves are an optional, procedurally generated location that falls somewhere in between the points of interest in dungeons. There are no roads leading to them, and they aren't tied to contracts, though in the future, we plan to make them an important part of the revamped task system, which I think is going to be really, really cool. A new way to do jobs and stuff I think is going to really liven up the gameplay. So it doesn't just feel like you're doing contracts over and over again just to do more contracts later. Building on the initial concept, we created several cave types, which I think is going to be really cool, each with its own property, enemies, and visuals. So right off the bat, we have regular caves, which are just versatile caves with either animals or bandits hiding on them. But look at this. There's like a dead horse right in there, a couple other dead things right there, some mushrooms it looks like we can pick up. It's just going to be so much fun exploring something new in this game. We have mines, unattended ores, veins that draw opportunistic bandits, unless something else has already claimed the place. So just having like little hideouts here. Hopefully this is a campfire we can sit at. It's kind of cool. Hopefully we could cook there. If we could take like a nap in it, that'd be really great. We could just rest up here, especially if it's a place that we cleared. I'd love to see a system where you could sleep in beds once you kind of clear a place out. I think that'd be really cool. The next type is overgrown caves, inhabited by a new type of enemies, which we'll talk about later, and are a rich source of rare plants, which we'll also talk about later, but that's really cool. Nice to see like just a different type of cave system that's got a little bit more green to it and plants and God knows what else in it. Many of the enemy types in caves won't appear anywhere else. For example, brigand gangs operating in mines are rostered by prospectors and scouts, and then by new mini-bosses, overseers, raiders, and torturers. So some of these guys look a little more basic, and I imagine these are going to be kind of the bosses that they're bringing. Look awesome. Look really, really, really good. They even put me in the game, which is just really nice of them. I appreciate that. Spider-infested caves will pit you not only against the usual crawlers, but also juvenile spiderlings, which are hatched from cocoons as you venture deeper underground. In the final chamber, you'll face a broodmother, a deadly foe who will fight to the death to protect her offspring, which I'm going to assume is this very nasty looking thing. First off, I just love all like the ambient stuff in the background. Right here you see this guy that's just webbed up and swinging some other stuff. And then this little like pussulating thing on the back, which I assume is supposed to be eggs and stuff, but look at that, there's a dead guy right there. I just saw two, just webbed up, feet sticking out. Ooh, I'm so excited for this. And finally, some caves, usually overgrown ones, are home to an entirely new beast, rock eaters, massive gastropods with a caste-based social system. As their name suggests, rock eaters are excellent diggers, making them highly mobile in combat and constantly burrow under the ground. So it's kind of cool to see something kind of like the enemies that get spawned from the one cultist mini-boss that kind of move around and stuff. It's cool to see more things like that, but having enemies that can kind of teleport around like that, very interesting. And maybe a little bit of a counter too for some of the arcanist abilities that help you move and teleport people around. But you can see here the one spits on the other one to kind of heal it. So there are different types of rock eaters. There's the workers. They support allies by regurgitating semi-digested food and splashing enemies with corrosive stomach acid. Hunters attack from a distance, spitting jagged spiked rocks and blobs of poisonous slime. Soldiers are protected by a thick natural armor and capitalize on debuffs supplied by their allies. They can also attempt to dig in, recovering from wounds and getting offensive bonuses, unless interrupted by damage. So that'll be really interesting to see. It sounds kind of almost like when the troll sits there and heals, it will get different bonuses and kind of recover a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how that really works out. The most dangerous caves may house a queen, a giant immobile creature that relies on summoning aid from the rest of the hive. Ooh. So it'd be really, really cool to see what kind of loot you get from this, because it's not going to have like a chest that you search, I imagine. It's just going to have something you get from it. Maybe that'd be really great. But look at that. I imagine that's a soldier right there. It's got that thick armor. Oh, very nasty, very gross. It kind of like screamed and you could see a little bit of gas to it. The amount of detail to these things is, oh no, you scream, you see a shockwave. Yeah, the amount of details is just gorgeous. Different enemy factions can sometimes inhabit the same cave. For example, a tunnel of brigand-occupied mine might lead to a chamber overrun by crawlers and rock eaters. That's really cool that it would just kind of switch halfway through. It's a little baby one right there. And the crawlers just appear, drop down. It's kind of interesting. Almost a little bit of an ambush. You step on a trap. That could get deadly quick. Survive the dangers and you'll be rewarded handsomely. Most mines contain valuable ore deposits. Be sure to bring a pickaxe to extract copper, iron, silver, and gold, and don't forget to bring an extra few coin purses so you don't leave any valuables behind. I imagine these are going to be kind of similar to the ones that we can find already in dungeons. Maybe they'll be a little bit different. Occasionally you'll come across a pile of bones, the remains of less fortunate adventurers, which often hold valuable items. Finally, caves and certain hunting grounds will provide opportunities to gather rare plants and mushrooms. Consuming them grant unique, long-lasting bonuses and can give you an edge when tackling the regular dungeons and other challenges. So this is where things I think really get interesting. They give a nice list of all these different plants that we'll talk about, but some of them do some really cool stuff. First off is Silverleaf. Replenishes 1% max health even when in combat per turn. That's a lot. And most things you can't heal while in combat, so that's pretty big deal. The Crimson Spleenwort. Each turn slightly improves the condition of all body parts, reduces the effect of damaged body parts on max health threshold by 30%, which is a fair amount. Marbled Truffle grants 25% intoxication resistance, doubles the effectiveness of immunity when recovering from intoxication. Spider Vine, they look great. My god, this looks so cool. Grants 10% bleed resistance, which you know I love, and reduces the damage from bleeding by 30%. I care less so much about that, but global bleed resistance is always great. Especially when you're about to fight a boss you know is going to try to bleed you, or those pesky thieves that like to stab you a bunch. A Pale Puffball. This is the first one I think I'm really interested to try out. Can be thrown on enemies. On hit, deals poison damage, and has a chance to stagger or confuse a target, and leaves a poisonous cloud on the same tile, while also continuously damage, staggers, and confuses anyone within it. So I think this would be really cool just to try out. So this is just on that tile, but it's just to see if it spreads out at all. If it doesn't, it could be really great to like pin people in certain areas and then throw it at them just to try to get maximum damage. This could be really great. I know we have things like flasks and stuff now, but without the ability to like kind of craft them or having to buy them and carry them around, it doesn't just seem, I don't know. For some reason, this seems more fun to me. And then we have Rot Bloom. Grants immunity to coughing and 10% control resistance, which is kind of cool. The Azura Cap, which we see on the picture earlier, restores restoration, replenishes twice as much energy per tick, which is actually really cool. And then the health equivalent, the Honey Hyssop, I'm assuming that's pronounced. Restoration replenishes twice as much health per tick. And that's kind of the gist of it, but I feel like that's a lot of information. And saying it's going to come out in about 2 weeks is really, really, really cool. So that wraps it up, but it does also include things about the psych system stuff and many other additions that we haven't dedicated blogs to, which I'm really interested to see once the patch notes come out, such as caravan events, which I imagine is going to be like getting attacked while traveling, things like that, but maybe there's other things too. New gear, which is always desperately needed. Looks like we got some pretty decent light and medium armors too. Hard to say until it comes up. This might be a heavy, this one might be a heavy, but fleshing out the rest of the armors would be really great. I can't wait to see some more of that. As well as various technical and gameplay improvements, which I'm always excited to see as well. So that's it. I'm really excited. I hope you are too. Thank you so much for coming by and being a part of this. I am so hyped for this new update. I can't wait to see the new mage classes. I'm sure everybody is. Plus to see how we can maybe do that. And I'm looking at Leo to maybe combine a little bit of that with a little bit of fighting. I think it's going to be a great class for mixing with melee and stuff like that too. But thank you so much. Please take care of yourself. Please stay safe. And I hope to see you real soon. Bye-bye.